Hey guys, we've been at peace far too long. Let's get back to some war, can we please? Why, yes. Yes, we can. With the War of 1812, also known as the Revolutionary War, Part 2. War of 1812 Primer. During the European wars between France under Napoleon and England, both sides wanted to control American trade with their enemies. The British continued a practice from the Revolutionary War known as impressment, whereby the English would force American sailors to serve in the British Navy. The French also began seizing American cargo ships. Thomas Jefferson responded to these actions with the Embargo Act, which effectively stopped all imports to and exports from America. This was not well received by American merchants who lost money and demanded war to protect their rights to trade. The American Army and Navy began building up to prepare for this possibility. By the time James Madison was president, the British had attacked U.S. naval vessels and began arming American Indians that were trying to stop the western expansion of the United States into the new territories gained in the Louisiana Purchase. These grievances, coupled with the anger over impressment and the trade war, eventually led to dun, 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 the War of 1812. The British were not at full strength, as they were still fighting France in Europe, but they were more than formidable. Many of the early battles took place in and near Canada, and then the Mississippi River area. The British Navy, still the largest on Earth, let the British dominate in most of the coastal battles. The Americans were resourceful in their defenses. During the Battle of Baltimore, the merchants of Baltimore sunk their own ships to make an artificial reef to prevent British vessels from reaching them. Fort McHenry was attacked, and Francis Scott Key watched as a prisoner on a British ship as the battle ensued. He wrote the poem, The Defense of Fort McHenry, which was later put to music and became our national anthem, the Star-Spangled Banner. Washington, D.C. was set afire by the British, and many of the buildings of the U.S. Capitol were damaged and or destroyed. Dolly Madison saved the official portrait of George Washington just before the building was set ablaze. She instructed the men to hack away the frame and then told them to destroy the portrait rather than let the British take it as a prize. But thankfully, that never had to happen. The war officially ended with the Treaty of Ghent on December 24, 1814. Ironically, one of the most important battles, the Battle of New Orleans, happened after the treaty to end the war had already been signed. Andrew Jackson would become the hero of New Orleans, which was made possible in part because the British failed to bring ladders to climb over the ramparts that protected the city. Jackson would ride his fame all the way to being elected president in 1828, many years after the war ended. With the war over, America had shown it could once again hold its own against the British. Relations with England largely returned to normal, and the British no longer impressed sailors and respected American shipping rights. With the British no longer supplying weapons to the Indians, Americans began looking and moving west, and what would later be called Manifest Destiny.